So, where are you off to now?
I'm to meet Will Fairfax in Annapolis. I've been to see Sister Betty. We are both very concerned about your welfare, Mother.
Concerned indeed.
No, you are getting on, and we feel that Ferry Farm is too remote and difficult a place for you.
Are you inviting me to live with you and your lady?
Well, there are so many in and out of Mount Vernon, I fear you would not find it at all serene.
Oh, don't worry, George. I have no intention of living under any roof where I am not mistress, so you needn't tender any grudging invitations.
Mother, I wish you would please just listen to what I'm trying to...
I will stay at Ferry Farm until my bones turn to dust.
Mother, I have always been a dutiful son.
And an absent one. But then it's a mother's lot to suffer the neglect of ungrateful children. You haven't touched one of my tarts.
Represents the crown. He was only doing his duty. Zachariah Hood is gone. Now leave his house be.
Bloody Tories! We'll be breaking your head if you don't stand aside.
Governor, if I may, I sincerely hope you will convey to His Majesty the warmest sentiments of duty and affection. His repeal of the Stamp Act was an extraordinary gesture of reconciliation with the colonies.
Let this be a lesson. The repeal would have come far sooner if your people had not, by their violence, challenged Parliament. May all colonists forswear any further opposition to the royal will.
Hear, hear.
Enjoy your ladies in the dance, gentlemen. I wish I could join you, but the infernal gout would have to choose this very night to, if you will, kick up.
If you'll excuse us.
Had Sally and Martha not been with us, I would have reminded him of some cautions which might be practiced by the king's ministers. Will, it was not out of the goodness of their hearts that they repealed the stamps, but because with all this uproar it had not fattened their purse.
George, I simply don't believe that this is...
Gentlemen, please, can't we escape for even one night? Dance with your wives, or at least talk to them. But prithee, not politics.
My sentiments exactly, my dear. God's in his place, our wives in our arms, and all's right with the world. Mrs. Washington, may I have the honor?
Thank you.
Shall we?
Remember the last time we danced?
You promised to find a wife for me.
And you went out and did it all on your own. George, you couldn't have made a better choice. She's warm and generous and kind. All I could have wanted for you.
I'm a fortunate man to have known two such women.
George, it's sweet of you to say that, but I can't hold a candle to her in the softer virtues.
Dear Sally.
And the fan. Remember the language of the fan?
How could I forget?
George, I'll wager you don't remember.
I never could resist a wager.
Watch closely now. What did I say?
You want to be alone with me.
A fortunate guess. Another.
We're being watched.
I can't believe it. You do remember.
17 years. Seems like only yesterday when you stepped down from that carriage. How innocent it was, that sentiment I bore you.
And I you, my gallant young gentleman. Even then, we both knew it could never be more, and as well. I must go to my husband.
Sally. Thank you for your friendship with Martha. She treasures it.
I've never known another woman I like as much.
Slow down, George. Those long legs of yours gallop a lead to every step I take. Where are we going?
You'll see.
And if you insist on being mysterious, I shall be as plain as day. The fat's in the fire again, George. They're still furious that our protest caused repeal of the Stamp Act.
They say that from now on, anyone who opposes British colonial authority is guilty of high treason.
Subject to trial in Great Britain. Well, the great lords think they can crush us with a mailed fist, little realizing that we're a new breed of men.
Behold, sir, the miracle of Mother Nature, and another new breed. I put Jupiter to true love and hope to get a runner with great endurance. We'll know quite soon.
Oh, George, what am I to do with you? Haven't you heard what I've been saying? We leaders must control events, George, not be controlled by them. Now,
All he wants is a little affection.
George, I really am not a dog lover. This little devil will no doubt attempt to christen me. Would you just take him? Thank you. Now, if worse comes to worse, and they continue to torment us with these oppressive taxes, I propose that we simply stop importing any more goods from England. Once good King George begins to feel it in his pocketbook, perhaps he'll leave us in peace.
And Papa, they want to see our puppies.
Ah, yes. Well, handle them gently. Handle them gently, ladies.
Look, everybody won't ask me where you're
Don't keep them from their mother too long now.
We'll be careful, Papa.
Patsy, are you all right?
Yes. I felt so strange. But I'm fine now.
Are you certain?
Papa, you worry too much. No. You're crying. You are so cute. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. He's so sitting. Oh, he's so smart. What are you doing in there? Hello. Want to go back? Come back.
That's our future. Our young people. We must find the wisdom to preserve the peace for their sake.
You are so cute. Hello.
Their intempered words verge on treason.
Mr. Speaker and gentlemen of the House of Burgesses, I have heard your resolves. You have made it my duty to dissolve you, and you are dissolved accordingly.
By God, sir, these are legitimate grievances. You do us an injustice.
You cannot simply dissolve us.
Since the governor has evicted us, this tavern will have to do. May it signal our resolve not so much to make merry as to make good sense. As Parliament is the villain and not our gracious king, let us open this solemn meeting with a Raleigh Tavern toast. To His Majesty, George III, long life, long reign, and boundless wisdom.
Virginia, by God. Loyal dominion of the crown and home of liberty. Virginia!
Gentlemen, if we drink any more toasts, we may forget why we're here. Please be seated. The chair recognizes Colonel Washington of Fairfax County. Gentlemen.
I have here a proposal drafted by my friend and neighbor, George Mason, which I make my own. The Townsend duties are an insult, even worse than the Stamp Act. They tax almost everything in trade and would destroy our freedom. Until they are repealed, we encourage all Americans not to buy imported British goods. Good. Including clocks, carriages, shoes.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing. Colonel Washington has allowed himself to be used by those who would turn us against the crown.
George, I implore you, do not speak with Mason's voice.
It is my own voice, Will. No other.
Then you join the treasonous minority.
Fairfax, your head is in the sand.
I think not. For what you do here tears us from Great Britain. The dire consequences shall be on your heads.
You're being put on display by Mason, like some prize horse.
It's become hard to find a moment alone with you. With you. Say, hang all politicians if they come between friends.
You mean hang Mason?
Don't tempt me. I still cannot believe that you proposed we not buy British goods.
It is the one legal way that loyal British subjects can bring the ministry to its senses.
Don't you think it's inconceivable that loyal British subjects should not share in the cost of protecting these colonies from savages and foreign enemies?
Yes, but the mother country must allow the child to become a man who can make his own decisions about taxes and defense.
I think the child owes just return to the parent for all the affection and protection it's received.
Your sentiments, Will, are ones I've often heard from my own mother.
I wish I could laugh about it, but I can't. You're too much influenced by Mason's rebellious passions.
And you are too much influenced by the king's men throat.
I am one myself, and a patriot. And proud to be. Once thought you could say as much.
My God, Will, you wrong me. George, if you could, damn it, I would try to my last breath to save us from conflict with Great Britain. But those damnable lords in that ministry forever look down their noses at mere provincials. It is their arrogance which threatens this peace.
I cannot believe I'm hearing this from a man I called Fred. By God, George!
Well, George, I was worried when you didn't come in with the others. Now will you join us?
George! It's Patsy again!
Have the ring.
Yes. Oh, God. George, is she?
It will pass. It will pass. Patsy? Patsy? She's rousing. Patsy?
Papa?
Yes, I'm here. Are you all right?
I'm sorry. It happened again, didn't it?
Yes. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Why don't I remember?
We'll take her back to the house.
George, I'm frightened. Neither Dr. Craig nor Reverend Green has been able to help.
Maybe the water from Berkeley Springs.
That's for cripples and wasting maladies.
But it might help. We must try everything.
We'll pray. We'll pray.
pray for a cure.
You kept me company while you were away getting more water for me at the springs. I love all my music boxes, but this one most of all, because you gave it to me.
Right.
Wind it again, please. And kiss me goodnight.
I thought we agreed you were too old for that.
I changed my mind. I am so glad you're my papa.
You're very dear to me, Patsy.
Ladies?
Too bad our Massachusetts rebels aren't here to join us, Fairfax. You could offer them a cup of the King's hemlock.
I'm only interested in doing in one of them, Mason. Samuel Adams, the devil who set that Boston mob on the King's soldiers and caused all this much ado about nothing.
The Bloodybacks killed 6 citizens in cold blood, and you call it nothing?
Gentlemen, I'm beginning to understand why the ladies grow impatient with us.
Mason's been haranguing me ever since the governor's reception began. I'm hardly sick of it. You'll excuse us?
Only exercising our right of free expression, Fairfax.
Mason, no more politics.
George, politics is the very air we breathe these days.
Well, perhaps we'd all be better off if we breathed the fresh air of peace instead. I know the cost of war.
Certainly no one wants war, George,
Let the tragedy in Boston be a warning. There's too much talk of conflict between mother country and colonies. Arms should be the last resort. The very last.
Just when I think you're ready to defy royal arrogance, you too bend the knee. You're a seesaw, my friend.
Damn you, Mason. I will not have you malign George because he shares my loyalty to the king.
And I resent your questioning my loyalty.
You speak against the king.
The days of absolute monarchy died with Charles I.
That is treason.
I think not.
Stop it, both of you. Look at us. We're friends. Yet politics makes us enemies. Do you think I'm a seesaw, going from one side of the issue to the other, unable to make up my mind?
Is there anything wrong in being judicious?
I never was as a youth. Perhaps experiences made me too cautious.
You are not like George Mason. Such men can play with ideas. They don't have to act. While you, once you have decided, must do something about it. I missed you so much this time. I thought I'd pine away to nothing. Perhaps you'd love me more if I had.
I love you just as you are.
Jackie's enrolled at King's College, General Gage.
Excellent, sir.
May I, sir? Of course. I trust, Colonel Washington, that you are not in sympathy with this dangerous talk coming from Massachusetts.
The better sort are in much alarm over all this anger over the ministry's tax on tea. I fear it may become as nasty as the Stamp Act riots.
The outcasts of society think they can get their way by putting loyal subjects in fear of their lives. Colonel?
Thank you, sir.
Jack?
Thank you, sir.
Well, I can promise you, if anything like the violence of the stamp riots occurs, we shall order in troops and quash the rebellious spirit at one blow, without regard to expense.
Hear, hear. There'll be an end to rebel insolence once and for all.
You've been keeping your counsel, George. Have you no strong opinions?
Your Madeira is excellent, sir. Honest men have a right to act on their conscience without being called rebels or traitors.
Sir, you insult your host.
Nonsense, James. Perhaps we insult Colonel Washington. And certainly we bore Master Custis and neglect our heritage. In any convivial gathering of loyal subjects, what is the first thing we must do when the wine is poured?
Toast the king.
Colonel?
To His Majesty George III. May God grant him wisdom in these tragic times.
Amen to that.
Oh, my dear. I've been listening for the carriage since morning. I'm always afraid something might happen to you.
Nothing ever does. And how have you been?
Never as well as when you were at home.
Patsy?
She's been practicing for hours to surprise Papa.
Any incident while I was gone?
I've never seen her in better spirits.
How was your trip?
I couldn't wait to get home so that you could entertain me with an evening musicale.
You must both sit down right now and hear my new piece.
God help her.
Hurry!
No, she won't need it. The fit stopped all of a sudden.
Is she waking up, George?
Patsy. Patsy? Breathing. Patsy.
Dear God. Send someone for Dr. Craig.
Patsy. Patsy! Patsy!
George!
Patsy!
George!
She's gone. Patsy's gone.
God knows how distressed you are, dear madam. But when you consider the little probability of her ever getting well, we must conclude that she is better off in the arms of eternity.
Kind George.
Ways of Providence being inscrutable, resignation and, as far as our reason can carry us, a cheerful acquiescence to the divine will is the only way. We must conclude that
George.
Martha wants you to rescue her. Dear Reverend Massey is drowning her in consolation. I want to help you. I don't know how.
You already have. Martha never would have made it through without you.
No, nothing I can say will stop the pain, but maybe one day you and Martha will have a daughter of your own.
In every way that a daughter can be to a father. Patsy was my own.
Oh, George.
I'll be alone.
Ah, look there. Shadows over Belvoir. It's an omen. What does it mean?
It means, my dear, that you are tipsy.
I'm not the only topper in present company. Our George is quite the merry fellow when he's had a dram or three. George, you remember our first survey trip together?
I'll never forget.
Martha, I hadn't yet married our Sally. George downed this tumbler of spirituous liquor distilled by some wild frontiersman.
Caleb Quinn.
And what a caution he was after that. Dancing like a country bumpkin with some common wench.
Millie.
Oh, he remembers. A broad bottom and a warm heart is better than kingdoms. Huh? Huh?
Oh, I've never seen you so rowdy.
Indeed, Sally, you should see Will rowdy more often. Then we could forget about Lord North and his parliament,
the Sons of Liberty.
And the damnable Taoiseach.
May they never reach port.
Oh, forget. And we could forget about what divides us. And think only of what makes us brothers. And sisters.
And friends. Dear friends. Forever.
Here, here. I would drink to forever had we not already drained the bottle.
Oh? We'll open another when we get back to the house. Come on.
Gentlemen, I think you have had sufficient.
Ooh, have we? Wow. What? George, I think the ladies do not understand the magic of wine.
Indeed. 'Twas honest old Noah first planted the vine and mended his morals by drinking its wine. And justly the drinking of water decried, for he knew that all mankind by drinking it died. From this piece of history, plainly we find that virtue and safety in wine by being found. And all that drink water deserve to be drowned.
It's the first time since Patsy was alive that George has laughed. Oh, thank God for Will. I do hope he's not serious about returning to England.
We could never leave our dearest friends. You know that. How much like boys at play they still are.
We'll leave both saws on the table. They'll be in the shed across the drive.
George! Now let the news, Jack, to be quite miserable in New York. It would be a great mercy if he were reunited with his beloved.
Have you changed your mind?
Yes, dear, I have. I think we should give our consent.
Listen, I've done with playing the ogre who opposes young love. Please, go comfort the child. Do what you wish. Don't consult me in this matter again.
Colonel Washington. I sometimes forget what a great disappointment you've had to bear. You've lost Patsy. I know Jackie is not the son you would have wanted. And you deserve children of your own.
Don't. We've talked about this too many times. If it's not God's will, what can we do?
George! George! I have news! They've done it! They've done it, George. Private citizens, disguised as Indians, have dumped a cargo of British tea into Boston Harbor.
Yes, I heard.
Well, you're not stirred. But George, so bold, so final an act as this must force the ministry to face the truth of our rage.
And invite their rage as well.
Ah, what? Will they dispatch regiments across the ocean to force us to drink that tea?
Such lawlessness only gives the British further excuse to punish us, as General Gage has promised. I have work to do.
Well, good God, man, what else could they have done? Our Massachusetts friends have...
Our Massachusetts friends have made a grave mistake.
Your world is about to go up in flames, and all you can think about is making a house bigger. You can't ignore history, George!
Oh, by God, I can. If only it will ignore me.
Gentlemen, please, your attention, please. The chair recognizes Mr. Henry.
Mr. Chairman, fellow members, let this document, which a writer brought this morning, speak for itself. An act of British Parliament has ordered the port of Boston to be entirely shut up, leaving barely so much of the means of subsistence as to keep us from perishing with cold and hunger.
Councillors and judges of this province are to be replaced by appointees of the King. General Gage, with an army of 5,000 redcoats and the backing of the fleet from Halifax, will assume the office of military governor of Massachusetts, and henceforth all British soldiery is exempt from civil justice. Once again, the damnable ministry uses a sledgehammer to crush a flea. Outraged that a few chests of British tea be dumped into the ocean, they would, in retaliation, starve women and children. My friends, if Boston be humbled into submission, then we could be next. They could close Hampton roads. Gentlemen, will you support Massachusetts in her hour of need? What say you, gentlemen? What say you? And by so outrageously punishing Boston, the British have forced us to band together. We voted to put Virginia on a military footing and to call a Continental Congress. Virginians and New Englanders have in common what really matters: the determination not to bow to injustice.
I have not heard you so eloquent.
Well, I wish I were as eloquent at the assembly as I am in front of these burning logs.
George, I hesitate to tell you this. The Fairfaxes were here for Sunday dinner. Will and Sally feel it is imperative they return to the mother country. It seems his English inheritance is still in a tangle.
No, that's not the real reason they're being driven from...
Sally spoke as if they might never return. They leave at the end of the week. What can I do for you, Sally?
The loading. Could you please see that they place the trunks properly?
Yes.
I'd like to be alone for a moment in the garden. Please call for me when my husband's ready to leave.
may never walk down these stairs again. It's hard to believe. I promised Sally I would not be maudlin. I would remember only the happy times. Think happy thoughts. Do rent it to someone trustworthy, eh?
Of course.
Now, we don't intend to auction all our belongings. Thank you for doing all this. Certain pieces with special meaning we're taking with us. Others we're leaving behind for people we particularly care for. I've tagged the various pieces so you'll know. You've always admired my desk. I want you to have it.
No, Will,
George, there's so much I owe you. We've had many fine hours together, my friend. Haven't we?
Enough to last a lifetime.
Well, I must give final instructions to Samuel for the staff. And meet you at the carriage.
I must see the rest of these trunks. Sally is outside. Go to her, George.
I was thinking of the time when you were ill, and I put the candle in my window so you would know I was thinking of you. My dear George, I won't be able to leave a candle this time.
There are so many things I want to say.
Sometimes things left unsaid are all sweeter.
Morning, Billy.
Morning, sir. What's the matter, Billy?
Nothing, sir. Mr. Alton is selling off the increase today, sir. He's about to leave for the slave market in Alexandria.
He'll be all right.
Mr. Alton! I gave you no authority to sell any of our people.
Colonel, you instructed me to cut costs because of our drought losses.
I've told you before, Mr. Alton. I will not break up families. There will be no sale.
By not selling slaves without your permission, we can go bankrupt.
Joshua, unload them.
You are undermining my authority, Colonel. How can I manage your plantation?
You may not be managing it much longer, Mr. Alton, if you do not follow my instructions.
But, Colonel...
This matter is settled.
Let's hear what the man has to say.
This has nothing to do with the...
Gentlemen, we must agree on a Virginia resolution before the Congress will send them to the King. These non-importation measures Mr. Mason and you propose
It would be a great financial burden.
But Virginia must lead the way. If we refuse to import any goods whatsoever from Great Britain, we could unite the rest of the colonies against these unjust taxes.
Hear, hear. Virginia has always been a traditional leader in this...
Excuse me, Mr. Lee. Could I please draw your attention to Article 17? We urge that during our present difficulties, no slaves ought to be imported. And we declare our honest wish to see that an entire stop forever be put to such wicked, cruel, and unnatural trade. I fear your proposal has distressed our permitting. Granted, Mr. Randall. I am a slave owner myself, but I have stopped purchasing slaves. I now find the slave trade repugnant and contrary to the principles for which we ourselves here petition.
I agree with Colonel Washington. It must be stopped now.
Gentlemen, we must move on.
Turn your heads away from trying to inflict petty wounds on the great and powerful. Instead, seek a union between their strength and our will. Let's come to terms with the mother country.
Gentlemen, please, your attention. Proceed, Mr. Galloway.
The answer, fellow patriots, is a British-American legislature that will act whenever more than one of the colonies is affected.
Yes.
Under such a plan of union, no taxes could be levied by Parliament or laws passed unless the American legislature agreed.
Mr. John Jay of New York.
The proposal has great merit, sir. And I, for one, second it.
It is a Trojan horse.
Does this plan give up any one liberty?
Only Boston.
Or interfere with any one right? No.
Does the gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. John Adams, wish to be recognized?
I do, sir. I say the plan is worthless.
Gentlemen, if it can avert a clash of arms, I think this plan of union with Great Britain makes great sense.
If we capture Colonel Washington, we may see Virginia and the South follow him into our ranks.
I agree, John. Without his support, any opposition to England will be stillborn.
He's here. Remember, he mistrusts politicians and lawyers, which I suppose makes me doubly suspect. Colonel Washington, how generous of you to come.
Colonel, John Adams and his cousin Samuel.
Oh, I'm honored, gentlemen.
The honor is ours, sir. Come, sit down.
Thank you.
Will it be, sir? Madeira, toddy, sling, grog, perhaps flip? They have a very potent flip here, sir, though I haven't tried it myself.
Well, that's a challenge I can't resist. Flip!
And you, sir?
Madeira will be fine.
Well, sir, I imagine you need to be caught up to the moment. Does it not stir your heart to see so many of us come together in common interest?
It does indeed, Mr. Adams. Ben Franklin says we'll either hang together or hang separately.
We are no longer 13 isolated colonies, gentlemen, not even to ourselves. If the London newspapers are to be believed, even the British people are on our side. They know that if we lose our freedom, they will be next.
So, we are not alone, and thank God for it.
Am I to drink all of this, lass?
Sir, the tavern keeper hopes it will lift your spirits.
Lift my entire body. Thank the kind gentleman, and yourself, too. Why such royal treatment for an ordinary Virginia planter?
The regard in which you were held, sir, by all of us in Massachusetts.
Do I detect some purpose in this flattery?
I assure you, it's heartfelt. You are known to prefer candor in your friends. Mr. Galloway's plan of union with Great Britain is intended to deflect us from our purpose and make us forget that the mother country will never let us be masters of our own fate. We need your help, Colonel Washington. Either Virginia leads with Massachusetts at her side, or we are lost. The surest way toward peace is to show the king that we are one in our resistance to tyranny.
I doubt that the king will receive such sentiments with the same enthusiasm. To our Massachusetts brothers.
To our Virginia brothers.
This pier glass set, used by my Lady Fairfax, no doubt in appreciation of the beauty of her person before attending a ball or banquet. May I hear an opening bid?
£2.
10 times that would be cheap. May I have more? £4. Better? May I have 5?
5.
Now we're getting to the spirit. 10. Do I hear 10? Do I hear 10? Do I hear 10? 6. Modest enough. I'm waiting 10. Going? Going? Gone. Sold to Mr. Trelawney. Before we pass on to the objects d'art, let us dispose of the accessories. The bolster and the pillows of the bed of Mrs. Fairfax. What am I bid? May I have an opening bid?
£1.
Can't we do better with pillows and bolster filled with the down of angels? Do I hear £2? 2. 3. Do I hear 3? Do I hear 3? So come, gentlemen. Your wives will thank you for the excellence of your eyes if you'll bid 3. 3. Do I hear 3? Then 2 it is. Going? Going? 3. Thank you, Colonel Washington. 4. Do I hear 4? Do I hear 4? Going? Going? Gone. The pillars of Lady Fairfax to Colonel Washington.
Where's Colonel Washington?
Mr. Mason.
Tragic news, George.
Bloodshed in Boston.
No, not Boston. Some miles away in the village of Lexington. We just got word by dispatch rider from Philadelphia's Committee of Correspondence.
God has happened.
Apparently the British troops started it, firing on local militia drawn up on the green. Slaughtering in cold blood some 10 Americans, mostly farmers. Later, when they got to Concord, they found more militia, gathered on a hill overlooking the bridge. And there our men fired on the King's troops.
British soldiers were killed?
Yes.
The King will never back down now.
And listen to this, George, from Dr. Joseph Warren, chairman of the Massachusetts Committee for Safety, who calls upon all to raise an army to defend our wives and children from the butchering hands of an inhuman soldiery. George,
I prayed it would never come to this. We'll now face the fury of the most awesome power on earth.
There's no turning back now, my friend. We fight or die.
I put your best breeches and your uniform in the big trunk, where they won't be as easily rumpled.
But my taking that uniform mustn't concern you. I'll wear it only to demonstrate my willingness to lend Virginia forces to the cause if the need arises.
You'd go to Boston to fight the King's soldiers.
We may yet compose our differences.
You don't really believe that, George. Not if you're worried that the British fleet will send ships up the Potomac to bombard Patriot houses.
I wish you hadn't heard that.
I've heard much more than you think these days. My dear, what is happening touches all of us. You can't protect me from it. Would Patriot leaders be taken to England, tried, and hanged as traitors?
They'd have to catch us first.
I want to know. I'm not an ostrich, George. Much better to face danger than pretend it isn't there.
I wish Will and Sally were still with us to look in on you. But Mason with his gouty leg will have to do.
I shall be fine in all things. Except missing you.
I don't want to leave you. But I must.
I know. And I won't worry too much while you're gone. I promise.
Write and tell me how the peach trees are doing that I grafted in March. While I'm gone, I know that you'll look after Mrs. Washington as well as you've taken care of me all these years.
Yes, sir.
I shall miss you, Bridgie.
Thank you, sir.
Continental Army, Richard. The next time the British march out of Boston, our ragtag New England regiments could well scatter to the winds and our liberty with them. We need a man to unify all factions.
I suppose I should be flattered that you've chosen a fellow Virginian, but Washington has only fought savages from behind trees. What does he know about European battle tactics?
He'll learn.
When, Mr. Adams? He'll face the greatest army in the world. You think they'll give him time to learn? Come now.
Are you trying to push Horatio Gates on me again? The man is but 3 years in this country.
But he was a major with the British regulars. He's a professional, and so indeed is Charles Lee.
But in the Polish army, sir. And he is also British. A bit strange.
I know what you're up to, Mr. Adams. You choose a Virginian in order to involve the South in the defense of Massachusetts. But what if your own New Englanders refuse to serve under Washington?
By God, they had better. We need one strong commander-in-chief and one army. Not 13 squabbling militia, as happened with those troops under Benedict Arnold, yes, and Ethan Allen of New Hampshire captured the British fort Ticonderoga within the borders of New York without telling the officials there first. And now New York and New Hampshire are at each other's throats again.
There he is, gentlemen.
You will have to knock a few heads if he's to unify us.
Knowing that, will he accept the post?
If not, then why is he always wearing that uniform? I think the man hungers for this new command. While I, poor creature, worn out with scribbling for my liberty, cannot wear the laurels which should be mine. Oh, that I were a soldier.
Will you, Mr. Washington, accept this supreme command?
Mr. President, though I am truly honored, yet I feel great distress that my abilities and military experience may not match your trust. I will, however, exert every power I possess in service to our glorious cause. I beg the Congress will accept my most cordial thanks for this testimony of their approbation. But let it be remembered by every gentleman in this room that I do not think myself equal to the command you honor me with.
Moment. The New Englanders have just fought a bloody battle at Bunker Hill, and along comes this stranger from Virginia to tell them what to do.
Well, you're only obeying the orders of Congress, and their performance was hardly brilliant. They should have followed up their slaughter of redcoats with an attack on Boston.
Absolutely. They might even have won the battle had they not only misplaced the fortifications, but also run out of gunpowder.
Yes, but for untrained troops, they showed remarkable courage. When we meet them, I want no disparaging comments. There'll be bruised feelings to soothe as it is.
General Artemis Ward, General Stark.
We are honored to have such a gallant New England officer as our second in command. Major General Charles Lee, Horatio Gates, our Adjutant General, and my aides, Colonel Joseph Reed and Colonel Thomas Mifflin. We thank you, General Ward, for arranging our quarters.
I'm at your service, sir, as that is Congress's decision.
I congratulate you for your valiant stand at Bunker Hill.
By God, we would have hurled the redcoats back again if we hadn't run out of ammunition. They overwhelmed us, but paid dearly.
Yes, I was deeply moved by what your men had to endure.
They must have vigorous training and discipline before they ever face the enemy again.
Well, shall we get to know one another over a glass of wine?
We've had a long day, sir, preparing for your arrival, so we respectfully decline your invitation. General Stark will see to your further needs. Welcome to New England, sir. And good day.
If you'd rather be alone with your staff, General.
No, actually, I'd rather be alone with you, sir. Gentlemen, why don't you take this time to unpack and settle in? If I may be candid with you, General.
At your service, sir.
Yes, all of you New Englanders are at my service, but not at my table.
I choose to abstain.
And like General Ward, you also choose to be angry at my appointment?
We respect your new rank, sir. What more do you want?
I want you to tell me what you think.
Sir?
Well, you people are famed for your bluntness. Or is that all sham?
This has been, up till now, a Yankee army. We've been the only ones to fight the damn British lobsterbacks. Now they send us generals and precious few troops. And what in the flaming hell did that Congress have in mind putting us under command of a Virginian?
At least tender me the courtesy of time, and perhaps I can prove to you that a Virginian can march with a Yankee. So, I will see you and your troops tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
You're going about it the wrong way, General. Protocol requires that you deal with the officers first.
Yes, but since they elect their own captains, the one is the reflection of the other.
Yes. And you caution us not to offend New England.
Gentlemen, you must remember that these are not professionals, but honest workmen.
General Washington, General Ward is indisposed. Troops do not expect your review till this afternoon.
Well, I prefer to see them now, as they are.
Workmen, rogues, and tavern idlers is more like it.
Just understand the freedom to which New England has been accustomed makes them hard to control.
I'd flog the lot of them.
Where's your officer?
He's not here, sir.
This encampment is a pigsty. Well, soon every officer and private will know his place and duty, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Who are they?
Pennsylvania riflemen, sir, arrived last week. And Tearsmen refused to take orders from anybody.
They broke the prisoner out of jail, sir.
If you break that man out of the guardhouse, you are in mutinous revolt. You men are from Pennsylvania,
And proud to be.
Yes, well, I'm proud to be a Virginian. But we are more than just Virginians and Pennsylvanians. We are Americans. In an American army.
Can't blame a man for what he does when he's had a few.
Every army has rules and commands. In the heat of battle, a soldier either follows orders or the British regulars make sausage of him. Can you understand that? Look at me, all of you. I think you're men enough to become real soldiers, willing to fight for liberty and obey your officers, but you can't do one without the other. Now, show me what you're made of. Lock up the prisoner. Soldiers, go back to your encampment.
Thank you. Yes, come in.
General Washington, I am Benedict Arnold from Connecticut.
I know you by your reputation, sir. You've come at a good time.
I certainly hope so. General, Massachusetts cheated me of promotion. One roar from you would secure my reward for capturing Ticonderoga.
Forget past grievances, sir. I intend to create a continental army composed of soldiers from all of the colonies, and that is where you belong. Come. Canada, now in the clutches of Great Britain. They could attack us at any time for the North, so Congress has ordered me to invade first. Schuyler has sent his best fighting general, Richard Montgomery, via the lake route to attack Montreal. I propose a second attack through the northern wilderness to capture by surprise the fortress city of Quebec. So, I need a man with daring and determination. I need you, sir.
General, I am flattered, but I
can only offer you a colonel's commission in the Continental Forces, but you at least not have to bow to any militia officer, no matter what his title. What say you?
I say yes.
I'll give you the forces that I consider best for a rugged journey as this.
I'm ready, sir.
Good. General Gates, I understand you instructed your recruiting officers not to re-enlist free Negro soldiers.
At the urging of Congress, yes, I did.
Well, they fought well at Bunker Hill. They do not warrant such treatment.
The Southern troops now enlisting will not serve beside any black man.
The Southern forces have a right to decide who enters their own regiments, but they cannot tell the other colonies who they may enlist.
The South needn't fear their bearing arms.
Your Excellency, there will be trouble if you continue to maintain this point.
I need soldiers. And I will not, by God, turn my back on any man who wishes to fight for the cause. General Gates, you will order your recruiting officers to re-enlist free Negroes. Now, gentlemen, we are a council of war, and we have more important matters to deal with here. Colonel Reed.
Ever since General William Howe replaced Gage, we've been waiting for this opportunity. General Washington feels that we must drive the British out of Boston and into the sea.
Oh, my God. You cannot be serious, General Washington. Our recruits are green and far from ready.
Yes, well, you said that last time.
Militia troops still come and go as they please. Many are without muskets, so we only have 5,000 fit to do battle.
If they were all fit, could do nothing without more artillery.
Colonel Knox is in Ticonderoga now, getting ready to bring the fort's guns.
How can he possibly haul heavy cannon hundreds of miles over mountains and across rivers and...
He'll never make it back here.
The young man has determination, and I think he will.
General Washington, to attack across a body of water, you must be at least twice the strength of the opposing army.
And look at them out there, the New England militia. Their 6-month enlistment's up, and damn them, they're going home, deserting us.
Perhaps, General, after Congress keeps its promises and gives us more men, guns, clothing, and ammunition, and our back pay, morale might improve, and then we can consider an attack.
An army is to fight, and generals are to lead. How much longer must we wait to test ourselves?
Halt! Who goes there? General Washington, soldier. Sorry, sir. It's your duty to challenge everyone. You're to be commended for your vigilance at so late an hour.
Thank you, sir.
Come, walk with me. Any sign of an enemy patrol?
Everything's quiet, sir. Except for our own men who are getting ready to leave us in the morning.
What's your name, soldier?
Eben, sir. Eben Crutch.
You're not one of them whose enlistment is up?
I signed on again, sir.
Happy New Year, Eben.
Happy New Year, General.
My dearest wife. My dearest wife. Exasperation and impatience seem to measure my days. How can I make this gaggle of individuals become one army when men can go home after 6 months' service? Yes, come in.
General Washington?
Yes.
Sorry to disturb you, but this just came in.
The king has hired German mercenaries, Hessians, to kill us now. Damn it! If I had any doubt that we should be independent, it's gone!
Another letter from Father? How is he?
His difficulties multiply if I can read between the lines. The weather is so cold. He wishes I were there to cheer him.
To keep him warm at night, you mean?
Jackie. He sends his best to you and looks forward to being home when all this is over. Oh, Jackie, how I miss him.
General Montgomery was killed in the assault on Quebec, and Benedict Arnold was seriously wounded. Canada is lost, and there's nothing to stop the enemy from coming down the Hudson. If the British fleet should move on New York City...
They could cut us in two. New York is the key to the whole continent, General, and it has become a nest of Tories. Send me with a division, and I'll make certain they never welcome the British with open arms.
You shall have it. But I want no harshness, Charles. The great majority of the people have yet to make up their minds, and we must not drive them into the arms of the king.
Why do you chide me, sir? John Adams agrees that all Tories must be suppressed.
Must I remind you, sir, that Mr. Adams is not commanding this army?
I don't believe it. Colonel Knox, he made it back.
Ticonderoga sends its greetings, sir. And its cannon. You did it, Knox.
By God, you did it! Rivers, mountains, Indians, nothing stopped you.
Let's bid General Howe a good morning. Fire a salvo over the harbor.
Gun crews, attention! Gun crews, attention! Charge with cartridge! Charge with cartridge!
They'll have the surprise of their life when they see we fortified these heights overnight, while they slept.
Fire! Fire! Gun 1, make ready! Fire! Gun 2, make ready! Fire! Gun 3, make ready! Fire! Gun 4, make ready! Fire! Gun 5, make ready! Fire! Gun 6, make ready! Fire!
Thank you, General Clinton. General Howe, I have no idea how we could have completely fortified those heights in one night.
Our amateur general is far more resourceful than we ever imagined.
He can rain shot and shell on every part of our lines. Our navy can be blown out of the water. Well, we must dislodge him, no matter what the cost.
Cost matters a great deal, General Clinton. We lost too many at Bunker Hill in an assault against fortified positions. We cannot afford another such victory. By God, I am perplexed beyond measure at these damnable rebels. The next time I face Washington in battle, it'll be on my terms.
compliments to General Sterling. Tell him to take his brigade from the Dorchester Heights to the city common and prepare a defensive position.
Yes, sir.
Captain, get the provost and his men here as soon as possible. This looting must be stopped. We mustn't give the Boston Tories further excuse to despise us. We must respect the rights of all.
Sir, your quarters are being readied. The last ships are standing out to sea with Howe's troops and their Tory friends. Perhaps now the British will let us live as we choose.
Then you don't know the king. He'll be in a fury that he's lost Boston and bring his army down on us like a hammer on an anvil. He could attack Philadelphia and try to capture the leaders of the Congress, but I think he'll head for New York instead. A perfect port, natural fortress, large enough to house a great army.
But if that Tory town should fall to the British, sir...
Well, we won't let it. But our militia is no match for the British regulars. Congress must give us more men and guns to forge a strong continental army if we are to stop the enemy.
Hello, sir.
This is an urgent matter, General. Some members still cry for reconciliation with England. Debate has been hot and heavy.
Well, you know where I stand, for independence. But your debate will mean nothing unless our army survives.
Perhaps New York is not where you should make your stand, General.
Some say it's indefensible.
So if you're defeated here, the cause may be lost forever.
What would you have me do then?
Abandon the city. Or better yet, burn it.
I will not give the enemy an easy victory that could frighten the undecided into joining them against us.
But if you are trapped on Manhattan Island, you will lose your entire army.
I will not let that happen if Congress will give us what we need. Establish a board of war to help supply the army. Give me the troops that you promised. And offer a bounty of $10 if they'll enlist for the duration of the war.
You're asking for a permanent army, sir, that would threaten the Congress as much as a redcoat attack.
You will have no freedom unless such an army exists. Gentlemen, this could be a long and bloody war. We cannot fight an enemy as powerful and resolute as Great Britain on empty promises and resolutions. We must become one army, so that when it is time, our separate colonies become one nation. Now, we also...
Sir, cannot
you
risk
are
it
going
all
to the
on
point.
one throw.
The point is that the Congress...
The entire harbor is filled with sail. It's as if all of England is afloat. The fleet will make the British 2 to our 1.
Well, you're filled with good cheer today, aren't you? With our fortifications on Brooklyn Heights, we dominate all of New York. They will have to charge into our guns at Bunker Hill, which I don't believe they will do.
General Washington, great news from Philadelphia. A resolution of Congress stating that the United States of America are free and independent, absolved of all allegiance to the British Crown.
In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Independence.
And to secure these rights, governments...
Just the word stirs my blood, sir.
Deriving
and mine too, Tillman.
Powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people.
If only I could be certain that I'm the man to spur us on.
And to institute a new government.
For if I'm not and we fail, it's a hangman's rope for us all.
Most likely to affect their safety.
troops out there.
Give me a hand.
Bring those other chairs down here. We'll put them in the wagon.
I'll take them over here.
Message for the General. Urgent. Sir, give it here. I'll see that he gets it. Yes, what is it?
Sir, British are landing on Long Island. The battle is upon us.
Take all the sea bread you can carry. No telling when we'll be filling our bellies again.
Easy, boy. It's just a young lad. Get out of the way.
Damn, it ain't hard enough to break the teeth of a rat.
Our King George, eat it.
Move out, men. Back to the picket line.
Let's get going. Okay, lad.
They expect us to march into their guns. But their General, Sullivan, has made the blunder we needed. He has failed to cover this area. General Clinton, you will slip through the gap tonight and take possession of the high ground behind them. At dawn, you will sweep in on their left flank as we attack in front, crushing them between us. Brooklyn Heights will fall like a ripe plum. And our rebels will either be on their knees toasting the king or dead.
Then I suggest we move within the hour.
Hey, easy, boys. Don't shoot me for a redcoat.
It's Joseph.
Where the devil you been? You get your full lamp blown out.
It occurred to me, Corporal, when I seen them big Hessians.
Damn. If we only had bayonets.
We must survive this battle. Most are hardly more than boys. But if they stand fast and fight, it could mean our freedom.
Now keep calm, boys. Keep calm, lads.
Hold your fire!
Sterling's line is broken. Caught between the Black Watch and the Hessians. He's trying to get back to Brooklyn Heights.
Hinterher, hinterher! Lauf immer! Da drüben ist noch einer! Drauf jetzt! Vorsicht da!
Sir, our losses are severe. 3 of our generals killed or taken prisoner. Over 1,000 officers and men captured.
Plus a regiment of dead and wounded.
Sullivan, Sterling. All those good men. Still can't fathom why the enemy has not tried to smash our last defenses.
Well, Fort Patrol reports that the Bloodybacks have dug a trench parallel to our works. So angled we can't fire into it.
So it begins. How we'll breach our lines by moving from one trench to the next.
But if he gives us time, we could get our entire army across the river to Manhattan before he knows we're gone.
That's impossible, sir.
It's our only hope. Tell Colonel Glover to have his Marblehead men gather all available boats.
Sir.
Tonight they go back to being sailors.
The British are within earshot of our lines. Tory spies are everywhere. We can't make such a silent withdrawal.
Well, we must. And the British will never expect it.
But what if the Bloodybacks catch us half on the water, half still on the heights? They would slaughter us.
Yes, but if Providence is with us, we'll save this army.
They have been grievously wounded and crawled into their last redoubts.
Good. Then if we attack them now, tonight, we can overwhelm them.
But at what cost? I want no more Bunker Hill. Wait until morning. Their position is hopeless.
General Washington, Colonel Hemp's rear guard is here.
Good, good. Glover's back with his boats and rafts. As soon as these last men are loaded, we're away. Hurry, men! Load the boats! Hurry, soldiers! And quiet as you can, or the enemy will hear us. The Hessian patrols will be on us at any moment. Move them quickly, Colonel.
Vorwärts, schneller, schneller.
Dann geh du aber erst.
Vorwärts, Männer.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.